Alright, welcome back to another hack here, and this is not necessarily about the hack. I mean, the hack's, it's okay. It's just, um, it's not all that. I mean, it doesn't really help you in any way other than maybe, change the time of day, but it's more about cheat engine here, so let's get to it. So, basically, we're going to control the time of day it is, midnight, 12 p.m., 8 p.m., we can change it to whatever we want. I got to wait, I've already written a script for it to speed it up. So basically, I'll give you a demonstrator what we're going to messing with. So I'm going to turn my script on. This is what we're messing with, right? This is just speeding it up. I basically found the multiplier and messing with it. So that's what we're messing with. That don't really help you in any way, but it's kind of cool, I guess. So we're going to put it back to about the time it had it started. So this is this is real simple to find. I mean, it's not too hard. What gives it away is the events you pick. If you hit the right trigger, you'll notice that they have a time of day and weather condition on them. So it's clearly using the clock. So what I done was, let me bring my script up here. This is my original script I wrote a long time ago. This is the actual time of day in seconds. And if you don't know, most people know that there's 3,600 seconds in an hour and there's 60 seconds in a minute. That's obvious, but most people don't know there's 8,600, 400 seconds in a day, 24 hours. So my script, I figured these all up. It's in seconds. It's a float value, as you can see right here. The multiplier is just, changing the speed at which it goes through it. But yeah, this is the main address, and this is the part that's accessing. It's not what I didn't get this from what's writing to it. I got it from what's accessing it. That's what I always tend to do. I don't unless unless I absolutely have to. I stay away from the write parts because those only get executed when that part of the code calls for it. Of course, this is getting executed all the time, so I guess it really doesn't make a difference in this case. So anyway, the part I'm wanting to show you is to change the time in my script. You have to actually open the script, set it. So as you can see here, my time in seconds is 43,200, which is 12 p.m. So if I enable that script, well, it's going to change time of day. So yeah, that works, right? And it freezes it. And then when I disable it, there you go. So it just picks up right where it left off. It works, It's okay. I wrote this back in apparently May 8th, 2021. Don't really use it. It's, it's not, I mean, I guess it's okay. It's what I want to show you is like when we enable this, you should be able to well, let me delete this one. This one's where I was messing around with before, but it'd be nice if you could just enable it and then, it would pop a box up underneath of it and you could just input whatever hour you want instead of having to open the script up and set it. Copy one of these and set it, right? That would be great, right? Well, you can do that apparently. So, and it makes sense. Remember how I showed you where you could browse the memory, and if you register the symbols, you could type in just the name of the symbol and it would go directly to the actual address. Well, that works with this part here. So basically how I found the time, if you're interested in how I found it, is I went in and I started it where I knew it was close to midnight or something, and it was getting daylight, right? Okay, now I figured this was running on a clock, so I knew there was 86,400 seconds in a day. So what I done was I went back in the cheat engine, like what it's doing right now, and I clicked this enable speed hack, and I set that to 500 and click apply. And then I'll wait for the terrain here to turn orange because I knew the sun was starting to set. So that meant that I knew that it was past noon. So then what I done, I can speed to kind of what I done up here with just my multiplier. So yeah, if we turn my speed control on, it starts to look like that, right? So I knew it's past noon. So what I done was this is 12 p.m. and this is 12 a.m. So I knew the time, if it was using seconds, would be somewhere in between there. So I just click scan. And then from there, well, check for what's increasing in value. And then I whittled it down. And this is in free drive mode in case you're wondering. And then that's about as far as you could get, right? Well, I let it go past midnight, and that shakes a few of these out. So we're going to roll it past midnight real quick here. But if you're using this enable speed hack thing, it's going to take you a little bit longer. So yeah, I let it roll past midnight there. But okay, now it rolled past. Notice how these dropped out? Once it rolls past, a lot more of them drop out. So let me hit next scan. And, well, shit, that was stupid. What it is these drop out. You don't hit next increased value because you look for a decreased value. And, of course, these zeros will also show up. But clearly that's not them because they're stuck now. So you could just click on one, left shift, or, yeah, you hold the shift button down, click on another, and you just delete those. Or you can just right click on it and remove these selected addresses. So here's the ones that you can't get rid of. You got about 57 of them. Of course, you know, you hit increase, it's not going to work because see your last value is way above that. So anyway, what you do is you highlight all these, hold shift click, you hit your arrow button, and that's all these right here. Now to sort these out, it's not that hard. What you do is you look for a master, or that's what I do, is you look for a master address, you just start locking them. Okay, it's not doing anything. They're still counting up. There's a master address in here that's controlling all these. It's got to be. Uh-oh, it looks like we found one. See how it's not counting up anymore? If I unclick that, see it's counting up now. But if I lock it, those are no longer counting up. They all seem to be dependent on that one address. So that looks like our master, and that also happens to be the real one because that's the time of day location. But that's how you do that. Just thought I'd show you that in case you're not sure how to, you know, sort through 57 addresses. I mean, it's just the time of day. It's not that critical. It's not going to crash your fucking game. But, you know, sometimes you do that with other stuff and it will crash a game. So just be aware of that. That's how I found that. It's not that hard. It helps if you use the enable speed hack part of it. If you don't use that, then it's going to take, you know, you're just going to have to leave your computer sit there for a long time. So anyway, then after that, you just right click on this and find out, I done what accesses it. And of course, the count on this one is way higher than everything else. And of course, that's the one I'm using. That's the one I always tend to use. Now, for the multiplier, that's the actual calculation. You want to find out what writes to it, and it's this one right here. You're showing disassembler, and I'm messing with this one right here. This is the multiplier part for it. So yeah, that's what controls that, the speed of it. So it's fairly straightforward. These addresses don't have pointers. They won't be in the description box. These two scripts will. So these are just a visual to give you kind of a visual indication of what the hell's going on. So let's get to it. So what I really want to show you is this. So we got the script and we got to go into it constantly. Copy these and paste it, and then we can activate it, and it works. That's great. So what if we could do it another way? So let's delete this line here, and let's call this hours. What if we could make hours a variable? Whatever we type in outside Cheat Engine, like below the script or something, and then it would take that value and shove it into the script. Can we do that? Yeah, we can. And it has to do with this register symbol right here. Because if you enable the hack, close that out for a minute. If you enable the hack and then you go on the Control B memory viewer, and let's say you type in, let's see, Control G, and we're calling it time hack. Well, it finds it right off because we've registered that as a symbol. See how it says time hack right here? That's where that address actually starts. It associates that address with the actual freaking symbol, time hack. So if we disable that, you get that. That's the real address of that time hack symbol. So that's what we're using. That's how this works. It kind of makes sense. I didn't know you could do this. I just learned this here recently. So we're going to open this up. We're going to come in here, and what we're going to do is we're going to call this hours. You can call it any damn thing you want. I don't care. Then we're going to come up here, and we're going to copy this, and we're going to allocate for a new memory address. Of course, you want to call it the same thing you got down there in the bottom, hours. Since it's a float, it's going to be a D word, or you could go 8 and make it a quad word. Don't make no difference. We are going to need another address allocation here for the multiplier, and I'll show you why. So we'll just call it multiplier. Simple, right? Same thing. For you got to declare these though. So we're going to put hours, DD, and you don't really have to put like float 0. You don't have to do that. You can just leave it as DD and go on to the next damn thing. It'll put 0 in there for you if you want. That's what it does. So if you just leave it as hours, semi, or colon, and then DD, there's going to be a 0 in there. That's how it works. You don't have to put float and then 0. If you want to do that, fine. You don't have to. So we're just going to leave it like that just to prove a point. And we're going to go ahead and pick multiplier. Set it up the same way. But this one here's got to be float 3600. And why are we making that 3600? Well, when we put our hours in, it's got to convert all this shit to seconds because this address is working in seconds, so we want it in seconds. So every hour we put into this value, hours, it's going to be an hour, so we got to multiply by 3600 to make a second. So simple, right? I'll just put a comment out here. Converts hours to seconds. And we'll comment out from this. Stores, or no, we'll just call it hours. No, we'll call it input variable. I think that's about it. That would make more sense, right? Be nice if I could freaking type. User input variable is what we're going to call that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Let's set this up. We're going to need to probably create the, I can already see one thing we're going to need to do. So we're going to need those. Another thing, if you don't register these as symbols, it ain't going to work. So we got to put them here in the register symbol. Copy, paste. Yeah, if you don't have these in here, this is not going to freaking work. All right. So let's delete this. What's our original code? Our original code's this right here, so let's delete that. That's our old shit. Well, we need to put our original code label in, so I think that's the way I spelled it. No, I didn't. That's different. So, see. Okay, we got that. We'll need our exit label. And I think that's pretty well got it. So now we can put our new code right here. So here's the problem with this. Hours, whether you define it or not, is going to have 0 stuffed into it by default right off. So when we enable the code, and what we're going to do is going to shove 0 into this memory address, which is this address right here. It's counting away. Well, that's every time we activate the stupid fucking script, it's going to turn it to midnight. So that's not exactly what we want. So we need a compare whatever hours against float 0, because we're working in float. Make sure everything stays the same. And we want it to jump if equal to original code if it's equal. So when it first runs through this, when you activate it, it's going to have a 0 in there, even though we didn't put float 0. This is going to equal, it's going to hit this jump to original code, it's going to bounce down here, it's going to run the code as normal like nothing ever happened, and it's going to cycle through and keep this timer here is going to keep working as normal until we input something, right? So now we need to figure out how we want to input. So let's see, what are we going to do here? Well, let's use this XMM0 because I can see a problem already. We just can't, well, we got a problem. That's the reason, like the multiplier. I'll show you here in a second. But we're going to move, we want to move XMM, we want to move what we got in hours into XMM0. So hours, so whatever we input is going to go into that XM register. And we need to come in here and create an address manually. And see how we said we were going to type hours up here, then we're going to type set hour, and then we're going to put 0 to 24, float, and then we'll hit OK, and then we'll bring that up here to this, and we'll move it up under here. Now you can set it as a child inside time of day, but when this line centers out, and then you'll right click on time of day, group configure, and then leave you can check hide children when deactivated. So what it's going to do is when you activate it, see it collapses when you deactivate it, and it opens up when you activate, and then you can set your time over here. And the reason it's still question marks there is because we haven't finished our script yet, so I'll get to that. So we've moved hours, our input, this is our input variable now, to basically it's taken whatever we put into this, stuffing it into the actual address, whatever this address is right here, wherever that's located, and it will show that where it's located. It'll stuff that in there, and then that gets shoved into XMM0. Okay, that's in hours, but we want to convert that into seconds, so we're going to have to multiply. And we're going to take XMM0. We still want the result in XMM0. And we're going to take the multiplier. So this will have our 3600 in it, and it's going to multiply that with our hours, which is now in XM0. And that's going to convert it into seconds, and it's going to take that math operation, shove it into XM0. Originally, I wanted, you'd love to be able to do this, right? I mean, that would be so fucking easy. Save some memory address too, but it won't do it because you can't write to an XM register unless you're a memory address or another XM register, which we're not. So, okay. I mean, you could move it into another unused XM register and do it, but you still gotta have a fucking memory address, so it don't help you any. So, you gotta create the multiplier memory address. So now our result is now in seconds, and really all we got to do is move that value back into this address right here, which just happens to be this one right here. So we're going to move SS, paste what's in XM0, and that should take care of it. Now if you leave it like that, it's just going to jump through the original code label and run this, and we don't want that. So we want it to jump to exit. So it's going to skip over this and land on this label here and skip the original code part. So, assuming I don't have my head up my ass, this should be right. So, we're going to activate it and see how this now says 0. And this is the actual address that you can locate hours at, because if we hit Control B and we search for, hit Control G, and we just type hours in, right there it is. And of course, if we disable the code or the script, there's the actual address it was sitting at. So if we enable it, you can see that that is it. So yeah, that's where and multipliers right here. So simple, right? So now, if this works, we can go to midnight just by typing in 24. We're right at midnight. And if we look at our chart here, no, that's not midnight. Wait a second. So that's 24 hours. That's the same as 12 a.m. Yeah, our chart's wrong. Figures I fucked it up when I've done it. But let's try 2300 hours, which would be 11 a.m. Yeah, we screwed up there somewhere. Yep, that's where our mistake was at. All right, we're good now. And we used our script to fix our stupid ass mistake. So, oh, and as you could see, our hours had 0 in by default, but we're going to go ahead and go float 0 to make all the code Nazis happy. Okay, what else can we do with this? There's one other thing I would probably do with this, and it would be, let me disable this. I'm kind of particular, if you're letting someone input shit, then you want to kind of make it to where they can't input values that are not valid. So let's see here. Really, I want to change this to 1 to 24 because 24, yeah, see, here's the problem. I'll show you how this is going to work. This is cute. All right. So we got our script open. We set it like, I don't know, 12 at noon, right? It worked. Okay, let's say we wanted to go back to midnight, but instead of typing 24, you type 0. Well, notice the clock, it's picking up right where it left off. Why is it doing that? Okay, let's open a script. Well, the problem is with this hours and the default, we'll go ahead and put float 0. Okay, the problem is with that. So we're looking for 0 when it first comes in. Well, you type 0 into it, and it's causing it to jump out and go to the original code and pick up where it left off. The only way you can get back to midnight is type 24, which is the same fucking shit. So if I type in 24, that works. Type in 1, works. 12, it works. How about -1? Yeah, see, that's what we don't want. I guess we could have it below here. All right, let's see. Let's try compare. I know what I done. Stupid mistake. It was float. So if it's less than 1. Really, I only need 2 of these. Pull my head out of my ass. So if it's less than 1, that would still include 0. So that would, okay. So we'll make this a 1. And it's going to jump to original code. Of course, we can't have it equal. I don't want it less. If hours was less than 1, jump to original code. And if, let's see here. Let's just gotta copy that because I don't want to type all that shit out. If hours is greater than 24, jump to original code. So that should work. Let's try that. So we got our zeros normal. Let's try 12. I don't know, 20. Looks right. Let's try 0. Picks right up where it left off. Awesome. How about -1? Still awesome. And 25. Okay, we got a winner chicken dinner here, baby. All right. So if you try to input anything out beside the range of 1 to 24, it's not going to do shit, and the timer's just going to operate as normal. But if you put a valid entry in, it's going to change time and freeze it. That's what we want. So if I type in like 50, it's going to just pick up right where that time left froze off. So that's what we want. 24 is midnight. Just remember that. Let's see what else. What else? What else? I think that's got it, doesn't it? That's what I wanted to show you. So, and it doesn't matter if you put it inside the child object or not. We can bring it out. It's still going to work. So if I disable and when you bring it out though, it's going to list it as ours. And it'll be sitting there. But if you put it inside the script as a child, and when you enable it, it's going to always list the address it's actually at. So that's kind of, I would do it that way. But that's what I wanted to show you is this register symbol can be used to, create an input variable. I didn't know that. If you're watching this, you probably didn't know that. So, and I don't see many people using it like that. So, I've only seen that done once. So, yeah, it's just me practicing. If you don't do it, you don't learn it. So, this is kind of also a reminder. I don't do this shit all the time. I mean, I got a real job. I do other stuff than fuck around with this dumbass game. So, yeah, this is just if I forget something, I can go back and look at it online. It's like, what the hell did I do? I don't even understand what the fuck I wrote. So yeah, I'm going to comment this constrain input minimum. User input minimum. And of course, this is the maximum. So, I'll comment some of this other stuff here, just so if I happen to go back and look at it, I don't know what the hell's going on. User input variable. And this is our converts hours to seconds. And we'll move that over some. Oh, and well, it's under the original code label. I don't really need to put anything for that. And we'll put up here. Let's see. I want to put something else there. If you want to comment more than one line, you just put a slash, an asterisk, a slash, and just write whatever you want in between them. So, special note. This is for me. Let's see here. Demonstrates using registered symbols as user input variables. So, there we go. And I think we'll update this. So, say is what? 2, 1, 23. So that's when I created or converted this. So let's look over this. Created by blah blah blah. Allows users to set and freeze time of day. Special note demonstrates using register symbols as input variables. Let's see. I think everything looks good. Converts hours to seconds. That's it. So let's click OK. Of course, I'll copy the script to my cheat table, but Pretty simple. If you want to practice this, my advice would be to set this one up the same way. That way you can, do it. At least get some practice in yourself. I can see one thing I fucked up on this. Can you spot the mistake? Right here. That's not good. And why it's not good is because it's not deallocating what this memory uses every time you enable and disable, so you eventually use up memory. But yeah, we'll sort that shit out. And we didn't register symbols, so yeah, I'll go ahead and put that in there. This one will be in the description box as well. We'll just copy these. Space. The only thing I might suggest is if you're going to do a lot of these, try not to repeat the names. I haven't actually tested that yet, but like say you use multiplier more than once, that might, as a register symbol, that might screw things up in like another script because, wouldn't know which is which. So you might want to try to keep track of what you're calling shit in these scripts, because if you keep using the same name over, it might not work. I haven't messed around with this enough to, duplicate registered symbols. So, but yeah, and you're not gonna have this one. They're not going to be both on at the same time, so I guess you could probably duplicate them. But if they were both on at the same time, you might have a fucking problem. So, just letting you know. Let's see. That's only thing I got to do is unregister symbol asterisk. I don't have to type them in. And yeah, that should do that one. So to make sure you didn't screw anything up, we're gonna cycle that on. And that's really going through it quick. That still works. Didn't fuck anything up, and of course our time of day. Let's set it for 21. Oh, and just so you know, you can put like, I don't know, say that's too dark for you. Excuse me. So you could go to like 20 and a half or something like that. You can tell the difference. See, it's a little lighter. So you can do that. You don't need minutes and seconds. That's just fucking dumb. I mean, and for the most part, you're not going to be able to tell the difference between certain hours. It's only later in the days as like the sun's going down, you're really going to be able to tell the difference. So, that's the reason I stuck with hours. There's no point in doing minutes or seconds. I mean, that's just a waste of time if you ask me. But hey, it's your cheat table. You do whatever you want. I'll do whatever I want. So the time of day and the speed control scripts are going to be in the description box. The only thing is when you copy and put the time of day script in your cheat table, you're going to have to manually create this right here. So this one will not be there, and it needs to be there or it will not work. You won't have any way to put, I guess you could go in the script, put the hours in, but that kind of defeats the point. So you're going to have to click this add address manually, go up here, type hours, give it whatever name you want, float, and then click OK, and it's going to appear down here like that when it's activated. And when it's not activated, it's going to appear like that. It'll say hours, and there'll be question marks and all that stupid shit. So my advice is to put it in as a child on the script. So I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, this video is more about Cheat Engine and how to use it than this dumbass script here. I mean, it's okay to change time. That's cool. But yeah, hopefully you learned something. Later.
Smash that like button and subscribe right now.